This is The Law Show on CL 650. Now back to the show.
Hey, I'm Zach Spencer. It's great that you're with us today, and we're talking about estate law, family planning, estate planning, the rules of what constitutes a will, and more importantly, it's got to be prepared correctly. John Lakes and John White join me from LakesWhyteLLP in North Vancouver. How do you get in touch with your firm in North Van? Is there a website? Is that the best way, or is there?
Well, either our website, www.LakesWhyte, that's LakesWhyte.com, or just call us at the office, 604-984-3646.
And you are on Marine Drive in North Van.
We are indeed.
Lots of free parking. I like that. All right, so we've been talking about executors, trustees, which is very important because they're probably the most important thing to get right about your estate. But what happens with things like gifts, if someone wants to give a gift in their will?
Well, in a will, then your next stage, you have to decide if you're going to give things away. Now, you have to be reasonable because your will may not be in play for another 20 years or 30 years, so you may not want to leave 12 pages in your will as to who gets a Royal Dalton and the green teapot and the red couch and so forth. So, but there's things that people have that they know they always have. So they may have jewelry, cottages, so forth. But they've got to be certain when they give gifts. So, for example, let's say you leave in your will, I leave my cottage at Cultus Lake to my granddaughter Hannah. But you have 3 cottages.
Oh.
So it may be that your executor may have to go to court to figure out which cottage you meant. Or another problem is if you've got a gift that's been replaced. So, for example, you say you leave your condo at 345 Alta Lake Whistler to David because he loves to alpine ski. However, by the time you've died, you now own 4789 Spruce Way, Whistler, but David uses all the time, but now he's had to give up downhill because of his knees, and he does cross-country skiing, cycling, and golfing. Does this mean David gets the new place at 4789 Spruce Way? Or third of all, you leave your Porsche to your granddaughter Hannah, but
Hannah's getting a cottage and a Porsche.
Hannah was the favorite. She came and cut the toenails in the care home. So
nice.
If you cut the toenails, you get the Porsche. So anyway, but the thing is, let's say there's a $20,000 lien on the Porsche. Who pays it, Hannah or the estate? And this is where John gets involved because he may have to go to court on all 3 of these situations.
Well, yeah, I mean that's we're back to the question of trying to identify what the will maker intended when they made the gifts in the will. And the number one thing you would take away from a will like that is whatever the will maker intended, it didn't come through clearly enough in the will, either because circumstances have changed and the will maker didn't update his or her will, or the plan wasn't thought out very well the first time. I mean, for example, the situation where in the will, Hannah's given a condo at a specific address, and by the time the will maker dies, he's or she has sold that condo and bought another one. Does Hannah get the replacement condo or the new condo? I mean, the concept at law is called ademption. And the court can find, after considering the intent of the will maker, that the gift fails. That is, Hannah doesn't get a condo, and that it's not sufficiently clear that the new condo really was intended to be the subject of the gift to Hannah, in which case it goes into the estate and gets divided up however the estate is divided up.
That's the easiest way to do it, is say, well, we'll just sell the condo and then spread the money around the way it was.
Well,
but Hannah may disagree.
That's right. The easiest way, but exactly. Hannah may have a different view. Hannah may like downhill skiing, for example.
Right.
Hannah may say, you know what, I'm supposed to get a condo out of this estate. I don't really care where it is. Mm-hmm. And it's up for the court to decide whether the gift adeems, is the word we use, or not, or whether you can really say that the will maker intended that Hannah get the replacement condo. So yeah, we can.
So what about you get a car,
yep,
and the car's still got a lien against it,
yep,
and so what do you do with that?
Well, again, this is another situation where it would have been nice if whoever drafted the will had thought this through before simply putting into the will that Hannah again gets the gets the Porsche without considering the payment of the Porsche. I mean, you know, the Porsche financing company isn't going to walk away from the lien. They're going to want somebody to pay it. That person might be Hannah, or there might be a provision in the will that just makes it clear that says Hannah gets the Porsche, but she's got to cover the lien, or the Porsche comes with the lien. Or it might say Hannah gets the Porsche and the estate, or the residue of the estate, picks up the cost of the lien. That's a possibility as well. Good day for Hannah if that happens.
Could you have a clause in there that says maybe I have still have a mortgage on the condo in Whistler and the cottage in Cultus Lake and this Porsche? Any outstanding debts will be paid by the remainder of the estate.
Well, if you have a clause, you don't have a problem.
Right.
That's the whole point, because if the will is properly drafted, you're not going to have that problem. However, it ends up going to court. The time spent in court is expensive. Plus, you could have 3 or 4 people all represent in court. You could have Hannah taking a position. You could have the executor taking a position. You could have all the other beneficiaries taking a position. And all their costs are paid out of the estate. So it may cost the estate $50,000 to determine who pays the $20,000 lien.
Diminishing returns.
Indeed.
All right. So what about cash?
Okay, so now we've dealt with certain things. So everything else can be sold. And the executor has to act in a prudent fashion. So you can't give things away. You can't be in a conflict of interest. So, for example, with real estate, they can hire a real estate agent. I usually tell my clients, if they hire an agent, first of all, make sure the property is listed in MLS. Don't let the agent double in. That is, act for both the purchaser and the vendor, because it's a built-in conflict. And pay standard commission.
Now, what about somebody who is the executor, and we have this amazing real estate rush right now, where houses are going up? I think there was a report $1,000 a day in some parts of the city. So is the executor, can the executor say, well, listen, I'm not going to list this house right away. Maybe we'll wait until next spring to do it.
Well,
is that prudent, or can you do that?
Well, when you're an executive, tentatively there's a 1-year rule. You have a rule to postpone payments. So, for example, if you have a GIC that's due February 1st, 2017, you could delay that. Maybe you've got a house where there's a tenant that doesn't move out till July 1st. But if you wait too long, then the executor also has a risk that, you know, everything comes up, eventually will come down. Right. So the problem is, if you say, oh, the market's just going to get better, and then all of a sudden happens, it doesn't, you're into trouble too. So you have to act in a proper, prudent fashion. Sometimes if there's a couple executors and beneficiaries who say, well, let's wait a year, and you get their okay to do that, you're fine as well. But you have to be businesslike. I mean, if you're a real estate agent, you cannot be the executor and the agent. I mean, that's a built-in conflict of interest.
Yeah. Well, quickly, what about bills that are obviously the hydro bill and the gas bill all have to be paid? Is that pretty straightforward stuff?
Yeah, most of that is. I mean, sometimes where the problem arises, if there's more debts than assets, and there may be issues of priority. So, for example, if you've got a house and there's a mortgage, that gets paid before the house is sold. Sometimes you have a situation. I had an estate years ago where the guy was quite ill, and he knew he was going to be ill, and he had a very big life insurance policy that went to his first wife, but he basically died owing CRA $100,000 and credit cards $100,000, and he had very little. But the credit cards come first, and anybody who's acting as executor, they're supposed to be getting a clearance certificate from CRA before they pay the money out. Well, sometimes they'll do holdbacks. But the point is, if they've paid out money to beneficiaries and then CRA says, well, you owe us another $20,000, it comes in that person's pocket. So when you're an executor, you're stuck with what you've done, but you need to know that information. So, for example, nowadays, especially with everything online, it's really important for a will maker to prepare a list of their creditors and where you can get that information. Because in the old days, everybody got their statements every month.
Yeah.
We've now had estates where we've had to get the Geek Squad to come in and crack the computers because nobody can access that information. And I think if we get more and more in the future with with more and more things online, Privacy Acts, it might be more and more difficult for an executor to get that information. And when you do your will, as Churchill used to say, you can't do the jobs without the tool. You got to make sure, first of all, your executor has the information, but second of all, that information is kept current and updated from time to time. Because if not, the executor could get nailed for something.
All right, we're going to be speaking in a moment about gifts, maybe to charity, cash, and a whole bunch more when we go through the basics of what constitutes a will, and more importantly, it must be prepared properly. We've definitely touched on that and what can happen if it isn't. John Lakes and John White are my guest partners at LakesWhyteLLP in North Vancouver, and we'll continue the conversation on The Law Show next.
There's more of the show still ahead. This is The Law Show on CL 650.